Alright, so we're checking out another new 5-inch from iFlight. This is the Nazgul DC5. As you can see, it's a dead cat frame. Very similar to some of the other dead cats that I've reviewed in the channel before, like the Evoke series, the Evoke F5, and also the Nazgul previously with the dead cat frame. Not a lot different. I'll talk about the frame and specs, all that here in a second, but I think the Evoke F5 is the one that I did not review of the series. I guess that was the last one. I did review the Evoke F6, which is the one you see here. So on the Evoke series, the front end looks a little bit different. As you can see there, the bottom part kind of sticks more forward. There's a standoff there. And also you get all of these, the side skirts here on the side here and the LEDs. Basically the Evoke F5 is identically looking like this, the F6, except it has the 5-inch arms and 5-inch props and motors, but essentially it's the same sort of dead cat style as you can see here. So I did not review the F5, but that one is $5.99. This is coming in at $3.99 for the O3 air unit version. They also have a analog version that comes in at $1.99. So this is obviously the Eco name is supposed to be budget friendly, and I think we're going to see this as a trend now. I think these models have been kind of creeping up in price over the last few years, and now we're kind of coming back to prices that were I guess before about 2019, 2020. I guess that's when things started going up quite a bit. And now we're going to see, I think we're going to see a retreat back. So in terms of the frame itself, nothing too unusual here. You got about a little over 2mm top plate, about a 2.5mm bottom plate, and this one spans across the entire bottom here. 5mm arms. Of course, the ones in the back are longer and retreat back, so they don't have no props in view of the camera view here for the HD footage. The stack here is in one of these new artery stacks. That's kind of these budget ones that have they have a lower price point than the STM32 stacks. So this one is like a F435 series 30x30 stack here. USB-C port there. That's a Blitz, I believe, series is what it's called. And then they have a 55 amp 4-in-1 AC is able also with BlueJay firmware. Of course, you got the O3 air unit here in the back. This one comes with an Express LRS receiver. It's kind of sitting in that little TPU part there. And then the antenna is in the back over here. And then this one here, this particular model comes with a pre-installed GPS for an extra cost. And then these are the new antennas for the O3 air unit. Got a TPU mount here for a GoPro. The accessories are included for the screws and stuff that are in the package. And then you have a buzzer that's down here. You have a little TPU piece here with a LED light that's on the other side that'll light up when you power it up. The O3 air unit is mounted over here in the back plate, and these on these M1.6-inch screws here. The front camera cage here is a little bit different than what you see on the Evoke. You can see on the Evoke it kind of goes more forward here, and the standoff a little bit more protection on the bottom side here. So they're using a different part here, this aluminum standoff. It's a bit smaller, maybe to cut a little bit of cost. And they have their typical TPU dampener there for the camera. And you can see that it's also on the side there. So basically the camera is isolated from the metal part of the frame here. So well, you'll see then the footage. There's no jello. This part does seem to work pretty well. Plus the PID tune is pretty good. Now, regarding connecting this to Betaflight, because this is running these new artery flight controllers, you will need to upgrade to the latest Betaflight configurator 10.10. If you're on 10.9 and you plug this in, it won't see it at all. You need the new USB drivers that are going to be installed with configurator 10.10, because this is running Betaflight 4.5. Because I think that's why we're going to see more of these budget stacks now, because now that Betaflight 4.5 is out now, these artery stacks are now officially supported in Betaflight configurator, but you do need to install that. So if you have the old configurator, you will need to upgrade your configurator from 10.9 to 10.10. Otherwise, you won't be able to set up the any of the configuration inside Betaflight. Also, the motor is nothing particularly unusual. We're calling these the Zing E Pro series. I guess that's part of their budget series probably. 2207 in size and 1800 kV, and we're running a 6S battery in here. The PID tune that I'm going to show the PIDs here on the screen if you guys want to copy that down. Nothing particularly fancy. They did tune it with this Fullsen 6S 1400 milliamp hour LiPo, so we'll show you the weight of this all together. Alright, just the drone by itself, we're coming in at 463.5, and then with the LiPo together, 692.3. Now regarding the PID tune, if you're watching this in the future, the PID tune that I have on here is probably going to be updated. They occasionally will update the parts and PID tunes and stuff. That's one of the reasons why I no longer include the CLI dumps in the description, because what will happen is 3 months from now, I guarantee you that something will get changed in the flight controller. Maybe they'll update the gyro or some other part. It'll be maybe swapped out with a completely new flight controller, and then the CLI dump that was for my quad will be different from your quad, and then something bad might happen, like burned ESCs or something like that. So if you're wondering, if you're wondering about the CLI dump and the PIDs, keep in mind that if you're watching this in the future, even 2 months from now, the quad might be different and changed. They usually do an update, like a change log in the product page, and then you'll have to contact iFlight for the updated PIDs for whatever's been updated on the quad. So just keep that in mind. So, obviously the big deal here on this new model here is the pricing, and I think we're going to be seeing some other models from other competitors that are going to be in this price range, because I think pretty much everything's a little bit overpriced right now. So it's $399 here for the 03 version and $199 for the analog. But if you subtract out the cost of the 03 air unit, which is going to be about $230, then without this, just basically electronics, flight controller, frame, and motors, without the 03 air unit, it should run you basically $170 for the quad, which is, I think, a pretty good value. And I kind of wish that they sold this as a model without the 03 air unit or analog VTX, anything, just basically bring your own VTX, or like what Emax is doing with their last model. They haven't done that, at least I don't see that on their website. So if that's something you want to see, then let me know in the comments below, and maybe iFlight will see those comments and take that into account, because I'm sure there's some of you guys that have an 03 air unit sitting around, perhaps in another model that maybe you're not flying as much, or maybe you want to fly this model. Should be pretty easy to put in your own 03 air unit and get the benefits of this model. But as you can see here, it's $399 for the 03 version. The analog version is $199, and then this is the XL5 version. So there's another frame that's not the Dead Cat. So if you want something that's a little bit better for freestyle, the Dead Cat's not that great for freestyle, then get the XL5 version. Now, obviously, you're going to want to fly the GoPro to get the props out of view. Otherwise, with the XL5 version, if you're getting the footage from the 03 camera, then you're going to see props in your footage. And again, this is kind of undercutting their own product here. This is the Evoke F5, and it's $599, so it's $200 more than the Eco version, which is, what are you getting there? I mean, you're getting an F7 flight controller, I think, in that one. So, and I think maybe that one comes with BLHeli32 ESCs, which, by the way, with the latest news on BLHeli32, I have a feeling that all the BLHeli32 stacks that you can see out there are going to start disappearing. Well, they are going to disappear because they're no longer to be manufactured. But the value of those has gone down quite a bit, because that whole project's, I guess, kind of blown up and has quit. I guess those guys quit. So they're not. If you have a BLHeli32 ESC, you're not going to get any more firmware updates. So basically, I guess ESCs with BlueJay firmware are basically that's what you're going to see going forward, and that's a much lower cost part. So you're going to see these artery flight controllers with BlueJay firmware ESCs. So the stack prices should be coming down quite a bit. If you look at the stack prices just on the iFlight site, you're going to see it's a wide variety of prices. You can see here that the stack that's in here, the Blitz ATF 435, that's this one here, it comes in at $57. But if you look at GetRC's site here, they have a wide variety of F722 stacks, $100 here, $76, Some of the F405s are a little bit cheaper, 72. Then you have the F722s at 120. I think these new Taker series F722s are the budget ones that are coming at like 57. But you know, I think these are BLAS. The BLA32 ones are all more expensive. But I think, as I said, the BLA32s are going to start disappearing. So you're going to see a lot of consolidation in the stacks. I think we're going to see just basically BlueJay firmware, ESCs, and probably all these manufacturers are going to go away from the F405 and F7s because the Artery stacks do seem to perform just fine. And if you look at the kind of similar competing model from GetBRC, this is the Mark V DC, dead cat frame for 03, and similarly configured. It's going to be $570 this one, so a little bit less than the Evoke, but a lot more than the Eco. And of course, here's a little quick overview on how it flies. I think it flies great. It's a pretty good PID tune out of the box. I didn't tweak anything. Put pretty much as is, just bound up to my transmitter and my goggles and took it for a fly. And the footage is nice and smooth, even without any stabilization. So you can watch all the links down in the video description for the full 4K videos. If you don't want to see it in a little picture-in-picture here in this part of the video, you can check out those links and see them in full screen. But yeah, even the non-stabilized 4K footage and goggle footage is very smooth. You don't see hardly any jitters or vibrations. I didn't hear or see any type of PID tuning issues. Of course, I am using the recommended battery, so that should be expected. It should fly pretty much perfectly out of the box, which it does. For this particular model with the dead cat frame, I think that I would probably stick to mostly cruising and exploration type flights with this one. I don't think this particular frame does well with freestyle tricks. Yeah, perhaps I'm not skilled enough to pull those off with a dead cat frame. They're just more comfortable with an X-style frame or a squash Dex frame. I'm sure a more skilled pilot could probably make, anything, do all kinds of amazing tricks, but I'm just not quite at that level yet. And for this type of model, with the props out of view, I think that exploration type flights are going to be good. On this particular battery, this was only 1400 milliamp hour 6S. You get a pretty solid 5 minutes down to storage voltage, and the battery at rest was at 3.85 volts, which is storage voltage. So when a little over 5 minutes, that's what you're going to get. If you're willing to take your battery down a little bit more in voltage, where the resting voltage is maybe at 3.7 volts or 3.6 volts. Or 3.5 volts, if you really want to push the battery, you may be able to squeeze out 6 or 7 minutes of additional, in terms of overall flight time. So for exploring a pretty large area, you can probably do that with this model if you get the GPS option, which is an additional cost. I think it's an extra $30 for the GPS. The GPS rescue for the pre-installed GPS model was configured but was not turned on, so there are additional steps to turn that on. There's a card in the box that includes those steps on how to enable that if you want to have GPS rescue enabled. But I think overall pretty good value for the money. I think that you're going to probably see some other similar models in this price range from GetBRC, HGLRC, some of the other competitors here that make 5-inch quads, because this is definitely undercutting their models by quite a bit. And in terms of the quality of the parts, I think is just as good as what you get something for priced quite a bit higher. I didn't see any drop in performance or anything like that. So I feel like unless you really like the lights and the side skirts and the better sort of look, if you really want the F7 flight controller, etc., if those are things that you are willing to pay for, then yeah, go for it. But if you just want to fly and you don't really care about if there's a performance difference, which I don't think there is, then I would just go for the cheaper model and save a few bucks. Definitely, I think that's the way to go, especially nowadays. There's really no reason to spend that much more for a quad if you don't have to. All right, so links will be down in the video description for everything I talked about. That'll do it for this video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.